Hi everybody, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you my TBR list for this week in October, the 8th through the 14th. So why, might you be asking, am I just going to be giving you my TBR list for this week? Well, it's because there are two readathons that are happening concurrently this week. The first one is the RIP or Rest in Peace Readathon, and the second one is the Charms Extra Credit Readathon, and I wanted to participate in both of them. Now, that does mean I am going to be overlapping a few books, but I'm only one person and I want to participate in both, but I know I can read at most 5 or maybe 6 books, and I realistically won't read 5 or 6 books in the week. But I wanted to give it a try anyway. So yes, there is going to be a little bit of overlap, but within each readathon, the books are all going to be different. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the RIP or Rest in Peace Readathon. This is its second year and there are reading challenges as well as Instagram challenges. I'm going to start with the reading challenges. The first one is to read a book with black on the cover. The book I decided for this is Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and that's because her second book, Vengeful, has just come out. I actually have it on hold at the library, and I know that there's like a waiting list for it, so I want to make sure that I can read it quickly. But before I do that, I wanted to go back and make sure I remembered all the details of Vicious, so I'm listening to Vicious on Audible. I actually went ahead and purchased it on Audible because there were no free library copies of the ebook or of the audiobook or the physical book that were available. Like, everybody's reading it, all the copies, so I just went ahead and got the Audible version. So I am listening to that right now. It does have black on the cover, I believe, on both the kind of newer covers as well as the original cover, so that's the one that I'm choosing for this challenge. The second challenge is to read a book that has a keyword in the title, and the 4 keywords are dark, shadow, moon, and spell. You only have to have one in the title, so the book that I've chosen is Shadow and Bone, and this is by Leigh Bardugo. I'm reading the ebook version of this on my Kindle, and I have read this one as well, but again, it's been a while, and then for whatever reason, I read the first one, I remember liking it, and then I put down the series and went to something else because I think I have reading I get distracted really easy, and as I've mentioned before, I'm a mood reader. So I put down the series, and by now I'm ready to go back to the series into the Grisha universe, but I don't remember really what happened in this story. So I'm going to be reading that for the second challenge. The next challenge is to read a cozy read, and my understanding is that this is up for interpretation. It could be kind of like a cozy mystery read. It could just be read something that to you is cozy, like relaxing. So the book that I'm going to read is going to be this one. It is To Be Honest by Maggie Ann Martin, and this is actually a new, I think a fairly new book. It recently came out. I read a blurb, I think like a review on this book, and it seemed interesting to me, so I went ahead and placed a hold for it on the library and then picked it up. It's a contemporary YA novel, so for me those tend to be a little bit more relaxing and a little bit easier and faster to read, so I'm considering this my cozy read. But I'll be honest, I'm kind of looking at the blurb again and I'm like, I don't really know why I picked it up, but I am expecting this to be kind of, like I said, an easier, cozier read, hopefully. So that's the one I'm choosing for challenge number 3. The fourth challenge is to read a creature feature. So the book that I chose for this one is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's by Ransom Riggs, and it's the first in its series. The 4th book in the series just recently came out. I, again, have read this before, but it's also been a really long time. I stopped after this first book, just like Shadow and Bone. I stopped the series, I put it down, I probably got distracted by another book, and so I haven't read the other 2 books in the series. I wanted to read this and read those 2 books because I remember liking this book and I remember being really interested in the series. My husband actually read this series and he said he enjoyed it, and now that this 4th book has come out, I want to read that one, so we're going to read this one. The reason why I chose this one as the creature feature is because the main character, Jacob, couldn't remember his name, see? So the main character, Jacob, has the ability to see these like creatures that nobody else can see, and they seem to be pretty dangerous, without kind of spoiling the book if you haven't read it. So that's why I chose this book. The fifth book is to read the group read, and that's a book that was decided on by the Creating & Co. Reading Club book group on Facebook, and they decided to read the book A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Now, I've actually already listened to this book on Audible, and I'll be honest, it took me a really long time to read it or to listen to it. I kind of struggled to get through it. Now, in the group page, the shop owner and the kind of creator of this readathon, she did kind of challenge us to say, like, if we have already read it, to try and read it again to see if we can get it from a different perspective. And I'm totally willing to try and do that, because I do know that sometimes audiobooks, I kind of wonder if sometimes I don't like a book because I'm listening to it rather than reading it. So I'm willing to try reading the book, the physical copy of the book, but there's just nothing available in the library right now, and I'm not gonna go purchase it, and I know that I am less likely to read it if it's an ebook. So this is definitely a challenge I will not be able to complete, but I am hoping to get the other 4 challenges completed. So that was the RIP reading challenge list, as well as the books that I plan to read for those challenges. Now let's move on to the Charms Extra Credit Readathon. For this readathon, there are 5 challenges, and they correspond to different charms that you would learn if you were a student in Hogwarts or if you were a wizard in the Harry Potter universe. So the first one is the Alohomora charm, which is an unlocking charm. And this is to read the book that's the first in its series. For this book, I've chosen Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. If you remember, I did say I was going to overlap some books, and here's one of them. The next book is to read a book that's at the top of your TBR, and this is based off of the Accio or Summoning Charm. So the book that's at the top of my TBR is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. If you remember, I did say that I had Vengeful, the second book in the series, waiting at the library. So Vicious went straight to the top of my TBR list, so that way I could read that first, remind myself of the characters, and then read Vengeful, and then return Vengeful, because I know that there's a waiting list for it. The next challenge is to read a book with the word fire or flame in the series or title name, or to read a book where there's a picture of a flame or fire on the cover. And this is based off of the charm Incendio, which is a fire starting charm. So the book I decided to read for this one is called Embers, and it's a book that I actually had on my Kindle. I had downloaded. I think it might have been one day I was going through the Kindle Unlimited books that were available to me, and I was just picking and downloading books that sounded interesting to me. This is one of the ones that sounded interesting, and so I'm gonna pick this one up. The reason why I'm picking it up is because there's like pictures of like flame wings on the cover, and I just think that that's really cool. The fourth challenge is based off of the charm Ric Decembra, which is the tickling charm, and it's to read a book that tickles you in the right way, something that is exciting to you, like a genre or a theme that's exciting, something that you're interested in reading. And so the book that I'm going to read for this one is Smoke and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Again, it's one of those books that I read that I'm overlapping with, but it's also one that I wanted to read and I'm interested in reading. I remember really liking it. I just don't remember what happened. And I want to read it in order to read the other books in the series and to learn more about the Grisha universe. The last challenge is based off of the charm Lumos, which is the lighting charm, or the charm that creates light, and that's to read a book with a light cover. And so this might be stretching the challenge a little bit, but I'm going to be using this book, to be honest. It's a lighter cover than pretty much all the other books that I'm reading in this week, and so I'm counting this as a book with a light color. She has fair skin, she's wearing a light gray top, she has blonde hair, it's kind of a light tealish color book cover. The back of the book is white. I'm totally counting this as a book with a white cover. So those are the books that I'm reading for this week. We'll see how far I get. It's only actually like 5 books that I'm reading, which doesn't seem like a lot considering there's 2 readathons going on, but I know that that's a lot for me in a week. So we'll see what happens. I might film a quick video next week letting you know how I did, or I might just post on Instagram how I did and then do like a reading wrap up at the end of October. I haven't quite decided yet. So you'll just kind of have to see if a video goes up, and if it doesn't, check out my Instagram if you want to see sooner how many books I actually got through. But for now, I'd like to know if you're participating in either of these readathons, and if so, which ones are you participating in, or if there's another readathon that you know of that I missed that's happening this week or maybe next week that you're preparing for. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the comments, and I will also see you in the next video. Bye!